Happy Easter everyone, and thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners. We've got harness racing at Albion Park on Saturday night. 10 races, and by and large it's a pretty well balanced program. The free-for-all for the Pacers, that's the very last race on the night, but I think it's a good card of racing, and hopefully there's a few winners to be found. To help me out in finding a few winners, we've been able to track down Lachie Manzelmann and Angus Garrard. Both young guys have good books, so let's see what they've got to say ahead of Saturday night's meeting. Dual code licensee Lachie Manzelmann jumps in the hot seat to talk about his standardbred horses and his drives on Saturday night. We'll leave the thoroughbreds for another day. Lachie, appreciate the time.
No worries, thank you.
Norwester, race 1, number 8. Is this race as simple as it looks on paper, leader behind leader, or could there be a little bit of a surprise at the start here?
Hopefully it's the first one and it is just leader behind leader, and it's just a simple race, but you know what racing's like in Queensland. Anything can happen, and we'll just see how we go. Yeah,
you've raced against Storm Tide a lot. Are you confident that he will hold up from the inside here?
I think they'll be doing everything they can to hold up, and I think he should have enough speed to.
Okay, so if that's the case, that puts you in a good spot. And you're jumping on at the right time. This is your first drive behind Norwester. She's chasing 3 on the bounce, and she's been good at past 2.
Yeah, she's been super, racing really well, so yeah, I just got lucky and got on at the right week, and hopefully everything works out in my favour.
Just looking back at last week's replay, even if she is 3 fence, she's still going to be competitive.
Yeah, well, that's where she came from there and did it quite well. So, yeah, anything can happen, but hopefully we're behind leader and get the last shot at her.
Do you think this race will generate a fair bit of early pressure?
I think there will be. Like, yeah, there's not a race that goes by in Queensland without a bit of gate speed shown. So, yeah, there'll be speed on.
Okay, so hopefully it's just leader behind leader and you're in that right spot and you can go zip up the inside.
That's the plan.
All right, well, that's race 1, number 8, Norwester, as I said, going for 3 in a row. Let's go across to race 4. Ronnie Salas prepares your drive here. Miss Mucho, and like Norwester, your first time behind this mare, but she's going well. She's only had the 3 local runs, and you can't really knock any of the effort so far.
Yeah, last start she was really good. She sort of come from well back in the pack and buried away and hit the line really strong. There's probably a bit too much speed to our inside to cross. The best spot for her would be in front rolling along, and she'd be hard to catch, but I don't think we'll be there, so we'll just have to do our best.
Okay, speaking about the mares to your inside, they're gate speed mares. Misdemeanor 1, Scarlet Babe 2. Who do you think leads this field?
I think Scarlet Babe, but side by side, I could be wrong, but I think Scarlet Babe's got the speed.
Would you be concerned if you got left parked out, or would that be okay?
Obviously it wouldn't be ideal, but I think she's good enough to do it.
Okay, so she's definitely a top 3, top 4 player here?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, that's Miss Mucho in race number 4. Let's go across to race 5. Again, for Ronnie Salas, you're going to drive Forbidden Jewel. What do we make of Forbidden Jewel now? She's been here for quite a few runs now. Where do you think she sits?
She's very questionable. Some runs she does really well. Probably the first time I drove her, she had every possible, produced at the top of the straight, run past them, and then she sort of knocked off and, yeah, let them go back past her. So the concern is about how genuine she actually is, but the ability's there, just got to find it.
Okay, this race should generate pressure. You look at that front row, there's a couple of mares in really good form and they're go-forward type. So given you draw 2 off the second row, it might set up okay.
Yeah, she'll just be punching gaps and trying to hit the line and teach her a few things.
Yeah, there are a few mares in form here. It's quite a deep race, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of races around at the moment. A lot of the better ones are coming back and the racing's getting really hard.
All right, well, that's Forbidden Jewel there in race number 5. Race 6, another horse that you're sitting behind for the first time, Mac Daddy. He's in terrific form. He's won 3 of his last 4. He was able to lead up last week, so he goes from the penthouse to the outhouse, you could say, because you've got gate 12. They've thrown you a difficult task here with Mac Daddy.
Yeah, he's racing super, so I'm sure he'll be up to it. Obviously, everything's against us straight away, but we'll be doing our best to overcome that.
Okay, as we just mentioned, this looks a deep race as well. There's a number of winning hopes here.
Yeah, yep. Like you said, they're all getting a bit hard now, and whoever gets the right run usually comes out on top. So hopefully we can weave some magic.
Okay, do you think he's capable of doing a little bit of mid-race work, Mac Daddy, or do you just have to drive him for speed?
I think he probably could do a bit of work in the middle, but obviously things would have to be run to suit to put us into that situation. I think plan A would be to drive for speed.
Okay, it's a 2,138 metre start here on Saturday night. Last week, a mile. Shouldn't really matter with Mac Daddy, should it?
No, and especially with the draw, I think that helps sort of over a mile, drawn outside the back, you don't really get much of a shot to get into it. At least over 21, it gives us options.
Okay, your final drive on Saturday night, your old mate, Kingdom Come, he goes around in the trot. Conditions this week a lot better than last week. It was a mobile mile last week, back behind the tapes, and it's over the trip. So that's got to be better for him.
Yeah, he's as honest as they come, and his run last week was actually a lot better than it looked. Sort of nothing went to plan. They went ridiculously slow in the middle, and he sort of just never got time to wind up. And then as we were winding up, the one in front of us galloped, and yeah, nothing went right, but he hit the line really well.
Okay, you start on the inside of that 10-metre line. You're drawn to follow out behind the Group 1 winner in Global Flight. That's a good spot?
Yeah, if we can hold that spot, I'll be more than happy.
Okay, so he's not without a hope there.
No, he's always a hope. You just got to ask him.
Okay, fair enough. So out of your drives, a couple of tough draws, which one are you most looking forward to?
I think Norwester gets the best chance.
Okay, race 1, number 8. Lachie, as always, really appreciate the time, and we'll see you trackside.
Thank you.
The man with the hot hands at the moment is Angus Garrard. It's been a good week the last 7 days for Angus, and he's in the hot seat with us now. Angus, appreciate the time.
No worries, thanks for having me, Chris.
You're seeing them well. Your team's going exceptional.
Yeah, we've had a bit of luck in the last couple of weeks, so yeah, it's really positive.
Well, let's hope that good form continues. You've got a nice book here on Saturday night. We'll go to race 4, Captain Nemo. You know this guy well, drawn 2 off the second row, looks to be good pressure early. How do you see it for Captain Nemo?
Yeah, I think it's a race that definitely could work out for him, Chris. It's probably a nice little draw there in a race like this where there looks like good pressure, so hopefully we can sort of see him right up to his best and he can go very close here.
It's an interesting mix, this field. Band 4, Band 2, no standout performer. So at his best, Captain Nemo, he's right in the picture here.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's probably a horse that people don't give enough credit to when he's at his best. We probably haven't seen a lot of him at his top, but he is a very nice horse when he's right.
Okay, so you've got the 2 mares drawn gates 1 and 2, Misdemeanor, Scarlet Babe. Do you think they're going to go hard early, looking for the lead?
I do think so. You know, Misdemeanor's definitely going to want to hold that lead. She's a different mare in front. And Scarlet Babe, she's flying, but she's probably not one that wants to be left first over. So I think they're both definitely going to want that spot, and hopefully that pans out for us later.
Okay, so do you want to sit in with Captain Nemo, or as soon as they look to back off, do you want to put him into the race?
Oh, look, I wouldn't commit and say either way, but we can drive him how we need to, I think. I do really like him off cover. I think he is actually quite sharp if we can really save him up, but we can sort of drive him whatever need be on the night.
All right. Race 5, this one for the mares, and this is quite a deep race, this race. You're driving She's Notorious. She's a gate speed filly. Can she lead here, or is this probably a little bit too strong frontline speed?
Oh, look, I'd have to talk to Graham and see what he wants to do, but it probably is a little tough. And Navaggio left the gate good last week, looked pretty sharp, so it's probably a little tough to cross. But in saying that, it's probably fair to say she isn't racing to the best of her ability, but she's probably building back to something near it. So hopefully she can just run a nice race on Saturday night and get better sort of in the next few runs.
Okay, so a place hope only at this point?
I think so.
Yeah, all right. Race number 6, you're driving at Classy Washington, and he produced a stunning sprint to score last week. He's so versatile, this guy. You can lead up, you can do a little bit of work, but last week he was dynamic the way he was just able to round them up deep off the track. It must have been very pleasing.
Yeah, he was awesome last week, Chris. He felt right back to his sort of really sharp best. He's sort of been racing good this whole prep, but probably without being as sharp as he can be. And last week he was definitely right back to that. You know, he gave me a really good feel, and the way he found the line was really, really pleasing.
Like, you were last there at the 400. You're basically still last at the top of the lane.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I was sort of a little worried when there wasn't as much pressure as I thought there'd be through that first half, but he tracked up really nice down the back there, and sort of as soon as I peeled him widest runner on coming off the corner, I did think he had him covered.
And they weren't bad horses that you were going past either. That was the most pleasing part.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, what a roller on second. He's been flying, so I think he definitely is getting right back to his best.
All right, tell me this. So being deep off the track there last week, he felt comfortable. He obviously balanced right out.
Yeah, he was really good, to be honest. It was probably the best he's steered since he's been in Queensland. So, yeah, I was really pleased with the way he drove and the way he steered and the way he handled that last corner wide off the track.
Okay, so the big question is, how do you sort of approach this race? Do you drive him similar to last week, or because you're in gate 5, are you sort of, you know, thinking about pushing forward early? How do you see it?
I think we'd like to probably drive him the same way. He has got that lethal turn of foot, so if we could, we'd like to drive him like that. But that being said, I won't say we're guaranteed to. You know, if it sort of pans out leaving the gate that, you know, there's sort of a handy spot, or we look to be able to get across without doing too much or whatever, you know, I definitely wouldn't rule that out.
Okay, it's a fairly good race, this one, race number 6. In your opinion, who's the hardest to beat?
Oh, you know, it's fairly even. Probably Alta Revelry, he's been really good, you know, for a while now. I think his last run was full of merit. And drawn 1, that's obviously a big bonus. Probably the only thing for him is maybe the 2100 if he cops a bit of pressure. But yeah, I think he probably is the one to beat.
Okay, that's a good race. Race number 6, race 7. This is the APG Gold Bullion 3-year-old mixed heat. So we've got the girls and the boys competing, and you're on one of the girls here in Mullum Ruby. How satisfied were you with that first up performance last week?
Yeah, I was really happy with her, Chris. You know, her sectionals were really good. She peeled off a good last quarter and sort of 3 and 4 wide around the bend. So I was really pleased. It was probably a race that was run more slowly than I expected, but yeah, I was happy with the way she went about it.
Okay, she is a classy type. She won the Breeders' Classic last year. So how do you assess this grade of opposition compared to what you met there last weekend beat?
Oh, you know, this is a bit tougher. You know, Miss Frou Frou is a nice filly, and Mo wins La Nina, and you know, Queensland has done a good job in his career so far. You know, it's sort of a race with a few handy ones in there, but I definitely think she's as good as them.
Okay, so you're just hoping she puts in another really good performance and she'll be at a peak for the final?
Yeah, that's right. You know, she had a little bit of an interrupted week before that first up run too, so she's had a nice week this week, so hopefully she's going to be sort of peaking for that final, as you said.
All right, race number 8 for the mares here. Ashley Nitro, number 8, your drive. You know this mare. Inside of the second row, how do you see this race?
Oh, look, to be honest, I haven't really had a long time to look at it. I only got on her this morning, but, you know, she's been racing well, and that's probably not a bad draw for her, really. She's a nice sit sprint mare, so hopefully we can work out a trip there, and if she's sort of looming at the top of the straight, I'm sure she'll be right there.
It's not an overly strong race either, so, you know, class-wise, she probably sort of fits into this race really well, and, you know, with a little bit of luck, she can feature, can't she?
Yeah, for sure. You know, she's always thereabouts if she gets the right trip, and she's been racing well of late, so hopefully she keeps that up this week.
All right, race 9, the trot, another good trot race here. Indefensible, terrific last time out when second. How does he measure up?
Yeah, we think he's sort of getting right back to his best, Chris. He was really good in that marathon there last start, so hopefully, you know, if he's 100% Saturday night, he can go close.
Okay. Could he lead here? I know it's hard to predict, you know, stand-start races, but if he got away like you know he can, could he easily lead this field?
Yeah, I think he can. You know, Global Flight's down there in 1, and he is a horse that if he does get away, he does get away pretty quick normally. But, you know, he hasn't been the safest of late, so, you know, we know what our guy is, and hopefully if we can get there and put ourselves in a good spot, he can be hard to beat.
All right, what's the best of your drives on the weekend?
Look, I think the race sets up good for Captain Nemo, and I'm really looking forward to Classy Washington as well.
Okay, races 4 and 6. One final one before I let you go. There's been a lot of hype this week about old Lancelot Bromack. He went around start number 500. You were the man sitting behind him. He was a little unlucky, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was, wasn't he? You know, it would have been nice to see him shake loose at sort of the 500 or 600. He might have gone close.
Yeah, if he had barrier 9 instead of barrier 8, it could have been a completely different scenario. But anyway, they're on again next week, and he go around for start number 501. Really appreciate the time, Angus, and we'll see you trackside.
No worries. Thanks, Chris.
As always, a big thanks to both Lachie, Manzelmann and Angus Garrard. We wish both guys the very best of luck on Saturday night with their drives. Time now to find a good thing or two. I think that the focus race for me is race 2. I'm really keen on the chances of this former Kiwi mare, Swedish Starlet. She's a bonny little mare. She's not overly big, but she's very fast and she's very strong, and I think she's drawn to win here. She's got good gate speed. She's got the inside draw. It's only a mile. I think she's the one they have to catch, so I'm really bullish about her chances. Race 2, number 1, Swedish Starlet. Remembering, if you are gambling this weekend, please do so responsibly. We'll see you trackside Saturday night, 10 races. We kick off at 5:41.